Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Dialed Podcast. I believe this is episode 13, which is
Yes.
my lucky number. I don't know about you, but I am your host, Nick McElhaney. This is my co-host, Anthony Beretta. Ant, say hi.
What's going on, fam? How we doing today?
We doing? So if it is your first time here, me and Ant are both online physique coaches, right? We help people both in doing bodybuilding competitions and also just, others in just lifestyle, whether that's you want to like put on muscle or just lose a little bit of fat and feel better in your skin. That's what we help a lot of people with. That's our job, as blessed as we are to say that. And it kind of took us a second to get to that point, right? And the biggest thing we want to talk about in this episode today, to circle back to my point, is the difference between a fixed and a growth mindset and how we overcame that and pushed towards a growth mindset. And we're able to go on to create our own businesses. And I would say became some pretty decent coaches. Would you say?
Yeah, I would like to say so.
Yeah, I would like to, I don't want to toot my own horn, but we got some proof to back it up. But yeah, so basically for anybody that doesn't know, right, just to break it down really quickly. So the two different types of mindsets that a lot of people will fall into is a fixed or a growth mindset, right? And it is kind of how it sounds. A fixed mindset is like fixed. And to give you an example, I like to use the word can't, right? So basically a fixed mindset is just saying like, I can't do something because I was just born this way, or I can't be a good athlete because I don't have the genetics for it. Do you have any examples, Ant?
It's basically having limiting beliefs. So you're setting the ceiling for yourself. You're saying that you can't do something because of X, Y, Z, when in reality, no one's making those ceilings besides yourself.
Yes, exactly. So on the opposite of the end of the spectrum, we have a growth mindset. And a growth mindset is, like I said, it's the completely opposite. It's pretty much the mindset that like you can do anything. You can literally do anything as long as you set your mind to it, right? Biggest thing that comes to mind when I think of a growth mindset is just failure, right? I think a lot of people look at failure as just a roadblock, right? It's a wall that comes up, you keep going, and then when you hit failure, that's it. You failed. It's over. Game over. You tried. Oh well. But and that is kind of how you would look at things if you had a fixed mindset. But if you had a growth mindset, you would see failures not as anything final, but like as a learning experience for you to get better. And that's like, I love reaching failure, right? It's like, cause it's a puzzle to figure out what you're going to do next. And it gives you a learning experience so that you don't make that same mistake again, right? Like if there was no failure, like you would never learn. You would never grow. So yeah, you have any 2 cents on that, Ant?
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I'm trying to think of the saying. I'm trying to remember it, but it's like, I don't know if you can pitch into this one, but it's like winners are basically losers who just never gave up. So it's the same thing with like all the greats out there, right? So like Kobe Bryant, I mean, he didn't even make the high school basketball team, right? And now he's like one of the best players in the NBA, or he was. But it's like you just have to keep on trying, right? Like all the famous people that you know right now, I'm sure they've failed hundreds, if not thousands, if not millions of times before to become who they are today.
Yeah. Nailed it. Perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say that me and Ant both have some pretty good growth mindsets, right? But it wasn't always that way. I think we both started pretty small, and we didn't necessarily believe in ourselves like the way we do nowadays overnight. It kind of took us a second to get here. And I don't know about you, man, but especially like growing up, one of my biggest struggles through life and just kind of that helped me shape myself into the person that I am today was like, first off, right out the bat, like self-confidence. Like whenever I was in high school, I was definitely like, I was picked on, even high school and middle school. I was picked on because I was like this super skinny kid. And I'm not gonna lie, like I was definitely like fucking weird. I was like the socially awkward, weird kid that like everybody was kind of friends with, just like out of pity. That was me. And, I probably didn't help myself. But, one thing I always tell people this when they ask like how I got into the gym, it's mainly because I wanted to be better. I wanted to escape. I wanted to like improve myself kind of. I fell into like the really, like I fell hard into like the whole, what is it? Like self-development bubble, like at a very, very young age. Like I would say like 16 or 17, I can tell this story. So I was working out at a Planet Fitness, and this is like, I was like new to lifting. I was like a year or two into lifting, maybe a little bit longer. And I was still at Planet Fitness. That's how you knew I was new. And I actually met, I'm going to call him a mentor. I met this dude. His name was Billy. Great guy. So Billy owned the smoothie shop. I don't know if you've ever heard of Herbalife,
Oh yeah.
but yeah, Billy owned the Herbalife shop that was like right next to the gym. Peak location, by the way. And so I'd never been in there, but I remember one day I I walked out to my car and there was a flyer like stuck into like my car door handle. And it was to the smoothie shop. And so like I look at the flyer, I look over at the smoothie shop. I think I'm in college. I don't really have anything better to do. So I walk over to the smoothie shop and I walk in, it's a little bit busy. And I go to the front desk. I don't know why. I totally would never probably do this nowadays, but I walked in and I was just like, yo, who put this on my car? Like holding up the flyer. Yeah. 100. Billy was sitting over the counter. He was just kind of looking at me like, I did. And I was like, you are a fucking genius, sir. And then we just hit it off after that. And I was like this 17, 18-year-old kid. I had no clue what I wanted to do with my life. But, I would go to this smoothie shop after a majority of my lifts and I would just sit there at the counter and talk to this guy. And he had such a good foundation in like mental, just like personal development, right? And he kind of showed me what exactly personal development was. And we would sit up there at the counter of this smoothie shop and talk for like hours just about life and like growing. And I literally like I learned so much from this guy. And I genuinely believe like it put me ahead a couple years in life. Not gonna lie.
Dope.
And look up to that dude a lot. And I definitely would not be where I am today if I hadn't met that dude in the smoothie shop. But yeah, you have any stories like that, Ant?
Shoot, stories like that. Well, I mean,
Or just literally any story?
yeah, no. As quite a few people know, like, well, at least I think few people probably know that we kind of have a similar background. I guess both you and I were both picked on when we were a lot younger in middle school and high school. I mean, dude, I used to eat my lunch in the bathroom stall. It was like that bad. It was a lot of self-confident issues that came up. Got called a lot of names like Toucan Tony from my nose, or floss with jump rope, because my teeth had like this big gap in it. Now I have Invisalign. I got like a perfect smile. But regardless, yeah, I had a lot of self-confident issues growing up, and then that's how I got into the gym. And then, I kind of more or less became my safe space. It became the place where, it was like my therapy. So growing up, I just constantly went there. I mean, like, dude, sometimes I would walk to the gym and it was miles, miles away. And I was just like, this is my second home, basically. So like I would walk there. I would do anything that I could to get there, even hitch rides and stuff. So yeah, the gym is definitely where I found my safe space. And then through that, like I was able to connect with a lot of people that went to the gym, and like they saw how serious I was about it. And then that's how I eventually got into bodybuilding, because I wanted to take my physique to the next level. And my best friend, Santino, his dad is actually a bodybuilder. He was back in the day. And seeing his physique, and then also knowing that my own grandfather was a bodybuilder as well, was pretty cool. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to dabble into this a little bit and see what I can do, because, I was playing basketball my entire life. Like my dad was a top-notch basketball player. He played overseas, played for the Washington Generals, who played against the Harlem Globetrotters. He played D1 basketball. He's like in the rafters for the most points scored without a three-point line. It was that long ago. So he was a really good basketball player, and I played sports my entire life. And I tried to follow in his footsteps. Of course, I never got to where he is, but I kept grinding, and then I found like a standstill in college where, I got injured, and then I couldn't really do a whole lot. So what I did, instead of like trying to learn more about basketball, is I got into bodybuilding. I saw these like magazines like Gold's Gym magazine and stuff like that. And I was like, oh man, this is actually pretty cool, like seeing these physiques and stuff. So then I started dabbling into that. Then I started dabbling into actual personal training once college was just like getting over with, or once college was starting, because I couldn't do basketball anymore. And then, I started getting into personal training, and then seeing the like change that I was able to bring other people just made me so happy. Like seeing the physical and then mental transformations of these guys and girls that I was coaching was just like super awesome. So that's how I got relatively into bodybuilding training, and then like the rest is kind of history from there. So that's my two spiels.
I love it, dude. I never heard those stories before. You never told me any of that. That's really cool,
Yeah.
actually.
My
Yeah.
pops.
Yeah,
Cool
that is
dude.
cool. I'm glad that that's kind of what led you to it. I never really had anybody who was super close to me that got into bodybuilding. I had an aunt. Not had. I have an aunt, and she did a couple of shows. She was competing like masters, I believe, and I think she was doing that when I was like 12 or 13. So I had no clue what she was doing. She was just getting tanned up and going in competing on stage, and I just
Yeah.
did not understand, like 13
Yeah.
years old, like what was happening. But as I kind of got older and as I started going to the gym more and as I kind of started like exploring the bodybuilding space, I understood a little bit more what they were doing. And they actually I do look up to them a lot, like my aunt and my uncle,
Yeah.
because they helped me get in the gym at a really young age. And I don't think my uncle had ever competed in a show, but my aunt did. But regardless, they were both huge gym junkies.
Mm.
And I remember every time that they would come and visit, like they would come into town and visit, we would always go to the gym together. And it was awesome. That's kind of what like sparked the interest for me. And then, eventually I just kept going and I never stopped. But yeah. And then I always kind of like pivoted towards like bodybuilding style workouts. I never really wanted to like, I wasn't a fan of the functional stuff. Like I was going to the gym strictly to just get better, like bigger
Yeah,
muscles.
bigger muscles.
I don't know about you, but like, yeah,
Yeah.
bigger muscles. Cause like you said, like, I was a skinny, socially awkward kid. Like I wanted to get big, right? I just wanted to feel better in my skin and grow that confidence. And I knew like having bigger muscles would probably help with that. So yeah. And then I just kept going and I just kept working out. And I was always the kind of guy, I was always the guy that would, I guess I did have a few friends in like college and like later years in high school. And funny enough, I was always just friends with like the people like a grade or two below me. I don't know why. I didn't like anybody in my grade. They're all mean to me. But like nobody, like the younger grades, they didn't know that I was picked on. So it was cool. But yeah. And so I was always the kind of guy that would just bring all of my friends to the gym with me. Be like, hey man, you doing anything? All right, cool. Let's go get a workout in, bro. And that's funny. You're drinking a Dr.
Are you
Pepper
too? I didn't even.
soda, bro. We're both drinking one. You put me on them. But yeah, gym wise, I was always the guy to bring my friends into the gym. And then one day somebody asked me, I think it was my old roommate, he was like, why don't you just be like a personal trainer? And I was like, that's not a bad idea. So I started going down the rabbit hole. I figured out you got to get like a personal training certification. I scoped out a gym that I wanted to work at, started getting the certification. And then I also wanted to kind of like do something to get my foot in the door at the same time. So I went to my like college gym and they actually had like a personal training department. And so I like found somebody that worked there and I was like, hey, like, can you tell me more about this? Like, do you have like, how does it work? How can I get a job here? And like, is there anything that I can kind of do in the meantime to like get my foot in the door? That'd be really cool. I'm just looking for some experience because that's something I really wanted to do. And they were like, well, we can't hire you as a personal trainer. You're not a certification. You don't have the certification for it, but we do have this one boot camp class that every morning at like 6 a.m. that the coach for is like moving. And I was like, 6 a.m., huh? Cool. So yeah, I just ended up shadowing this current coach for his whole like boot camp class. And then a couple of weeks later, I took over the class myself with very, very, very little experience. And that was kind of the first thing that I did to like get my foot in the door in like the fitness world. I taught this little boot camp class at 6 in the morning every freaking day during college. And then I did that for about six or so months. And then after like that semester was over, I ended up doing my certification, passed it. And then I walked into the gym that I really wanted to be a personal trainer at. And I was like, hey, hire me. And they're like, okay. And then, yeah, the rest is history. I was a in-person personal trainer for like 2 to 3 years.
That's dope. That's dope,
So,
dude. Yeah. I used to go to the gym up in North Haven. I think it's on like the North Haven, East Haven line in Connecticut. It's called Powerhouse. And it is like, it's an old school, like, I don't even know how to like put it elsewise, but it's like gritty. Like it's like, you go there, you put in the work and then like you get out of there. But it's really cool because when you walk in, right to the left, it has the signatures of like all these IFBB pros, Olympians, the whole nine. And it's
so
just
cool.
like covered on the wall. And then you walk in, go past the front desk, and then on the right, you're going to see another set of photos, which is just like a bunch of IFBB pros, has their signatures on it. And then I saw my best friend's dad was on that wall. And I was like,
No way.
snap, like that's sick. And then so seeing that and then going into that gym atmosphere, it really turned me from just like wanting to be just a regular personal trainer to wanting to pursue bodybuilding. Because dude, like going to the gym, starting to work out and train, and then seeing results, and then seeing these like monsters, these like mass monsters walk in, like having 10 plates on each side on a hack squat, like just absolutely destroying it. It was really cool to see. Like it was really cool to see all that like that grit, and like talking to some of these guys too. Is like they weren't assholes. They were like really nice. They were like helping me out. They were like showing me how to do certain lifts. I was like, dude, this is sick. So like though a lot of those guys that helped me out, like they let me like look up to them and like almost be a mentor without them even knowing it. So it was really cool to be built up around like IFBB pros, and just like I said, these guys with such experience, which really like set me up for success. And then my first bodybuilding coach, I saw him on the poster in the gym, and I was like, looks like he knows what he's doing. And then the rest is kind of history from there. So
Turns out he didn't know what he was doing, right?
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he just had a bad
Was
few
he
months.
was he a pro?
Yes, he's a
Okay.
pro. Yeah.
All right. So that goes to say, just because you're a pro doesn't mean you're a good coach. That's a big thing. There's
I
a big
mean,
difference.
listen, I have a pretty interesting take on that, and that is it just means that you know how to follow a plan. That's just my personal take on it, because it's
No, I
like,
completely agree. Like, yeah, just because if you become a pro, like, like you didn't necessarily like you had a coach calling all the shots, right? Obviously, you got there, you put in the work, but like,
yeah,
they still gave you the plan, right?
yeah.
Like, you weren't calling your own shots in peak week. Your coach was, right?
Mhm.
So, yeah, just
I mean,
because
it's definitely have some experience in the game, though. Don't get me wrong. It's like,
100%,
yeah,
100%, but it doesn't mean that like you're gonna automatically, if you're a pro, you're gonna be a great coach. There's
yeah,
plenty
no.
of pros out there that are awful coaches.
hmm Yeah, no, exactly. I had a guy come to me last week, and then he said he was getting coached by an IFBB pro, and I was like, sweet. And he's like, yeah, the plan sucks. I was like, can I see the plan? And it was just like a Google Doc sheet of like the most basic and bland foods I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, the workout splits were like nothing. He was like in the gym for like 30 minutes a day, like doing his training and stuff. And it was just like, I don't know, it was just like disgusting. It was like, I don't even want to look at this. It's that bad. So he's like, yeah, I made zero progress in the past like 4 months, and I'm like done with this guy. And I'm like, makes sense. I would be too.
I don't blame you. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for
Yeah,
sure.
it's
But
vicious. Yeah.
regardless of that, I know we want to kind of get into like reel it back here a little bit. One of the next things that I kind of fell into the trap to is alongside with you as well, because I know you brought it up, which is imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Now, for those that don't know, do you want to speak on it first and then give your take and kind of go from there?
With like what imposter syndrome is?
Yeah, what it is and how you experienced it yourself.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, for those of you who don't know, like, so I experienced it, honestly, I experienced it the most whenever I was a personal trainer because basically what imposter syndrome is, it's like you're in a specific job or role or whatever, and you're just like, I don't belong here. I don't deserve to be here. Like, I'm not as good as this other guy is. Like, what am I doing? That's imposter syndrome. And I got that a lot when I first became a personal trainer because that is a goal of mine a couple of years ago. Like, I wanted to be a personal trainer so bad. So I set the goals. I found the gym I wanted to work at. I found the certification. I went through this whole certification over the course of like 6 months to get that personal training certification. And once I hit that milestone, that was a really, really, really big deal for me. And then going into this gym that I wanted to work at and seeing all of the personal trainers there, like, I looked up to them. I put them all on a pedestal. And so me walking in there and getting the job to work side by side with these people that I think are so much more experienced than me, it's really like, what's the word? It's like, it's nerve wracking, and like, you don't feel like you belong there because you literally have no
Daunting.
experience.
Yeah.
Yes, it's daunting. Like, I didn't have any experience. The only experience I had came from a fucking like NASM textbook. They don't teach you anything, by the way. Okay.
Oh my God, no.
I would recommend, we've talked about this before, but like, if you want to like dial in like your training nutrition, don't get a personal training certification. Just get a coach, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, and like, I was thinking about this before we got on, and my advice for that and anybody that's in a similar position with like imposter syndrome is like, You kind of just got to put the reps in and like tough it out. And then eventually, like day by day, you start to believe in yourself a little bit more. And it's nerve wracking, but I guess I will say this, like every time, every pivotal moment in my life that I have had this feeling in my gut where I'm like fucking terrified. Like, for example, that group fitness class that I was going to start teaching at 6 a.m. The first day that I showed up there, walking in, I was pissing my pants. I was so nervous. I was scared. Like I was shaky, but I knew like this is what I wanted. And at the end of the day, like I'm heading in the right direction. And I really believe like anytime you get that feeling in your gut where like, you need to be somewhere, but you're scared, never run from it, but lean into it. And so that is the exact feeling that I got whenever I started doing personal training. And it was super scary, but I knew this is where I wanted to be. And I leaned into it. And then slowly, like day by day, I started believing in myself a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And just know at the end of the day, like if that is something that you're struggling with, like you really are no different than the other personal trainer, for example, that you think has more experience than you. The only difference is time and experience. And as long as you continue to do that, you're going to get the time and experience. There's no shortcut for that. But that's the only thing that they have on you. And they had to start somewhere as well. And that's another thing too, is like if you think anybody's looking down on you because they have more experience than you, just know like they had to start somewhere too. Like everybody has to start somewhere to get to where they are today. So nobody's ever going to knock you for trying something.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, both you and I can relate on this imposter syndrome feeling, because it's very apparent. Especially like it's funny because at the point at which you think you know what you're doing is the point at also which you feel like you know absolutely nothing. So it's like, I'll give you a prime example. One of my clients, like a year ago, he won Summer Shred Men's Physique, and I was like on top of the world. I was on like cloud nine. And then for like a few days after, I was like, dang, man, like I don't know what it was, but I just felt like I still wasn't good enough. Like even after like, pro card, like OCB pro card wins and stuff like that, it's like still it's just like never really feeling like it's enough, and like feeling like, oh, I'm just continuously comparing myself to the coach who's doing better than me. When in reality, it's like they were in my shoes not too long ago. And then also it's like, it's kind of like taking like steps, right? It's like every single step is it's one step closer to your goal. But the only thing is that staircase is never ending, right? It's just a continual gradual increase day after day after day after day. And you have to make sure that you just don't fall short and like take a step back down the staircase, right? Because if you do, you're just going to set yourself back every single time. So you just have to keep taking a step no matter how hard it is. It's like I talked to Felicity about this the other day, and it was the junk drawer analogy. I don't know if you've ever heard about that, but it's like there's a junk drawer that you just like, you keep putting stuff into it, but you never want to like clean it and like fix it and like manage it up. And it basically comes down to that analogy, which is like there's a lot of things that you don't want to do, but you know you're going to have to do it in order to reach that person that you want to be. And you're just going to have to do it. You're just going to have to open that drawer. You're going to have to sit down with it and be like, all right, let's figure this shit out and let's get on our way with it. So, just my challenge for you, whoever's listening to this podcast, is open that drawer, fix what's inside it, because if not, it's just going to keep on stacking on top of each other and you're never going to be that person that you want to be. That's what imposter syndrome boils down to, is like not only you acknowledging like, yeah, I know that I don't know enough, but like also acknowledging, okay, I need to take some steps here. I need to actually like work towards who I want to be here in the future. So hopefully I didn't like go off too hard on that, but
No, that's awesome. No, I love that. And it reminds me of a Matthew McConaughey speech that I saw the other day. Like that's the guy that played in Interstellar, right?
yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. So he was giving a speech and like, I liked it because it was really motivational. And what he said that somebody came up to him when he was like a little kid, like 12 years old or something like that, maybe like 15, I don't know. And they asked him like, who is like your biggest role model? Like who's somebody that you look up to? And he's like, I don't know. Let me come back in a couple days and I'll ask you, and then I'll tell you. And he's like, okay. So the guy comes back a couple days later, and he's just like, so what do you think? Do you have an answer of like who you look up to the most? And he said, yeah, I think it's going to be myself in 10 years. And so then 10 years go by, and the same guy comes back to him, and he said, so you're yourself 10 years from now. How does it feel? Do you feel like you're the person that you look up to yet? And he goes, not even close. Like, okay, who do you look up to now then? That's going to be me in another 10 years. And it just goes to show, like, no matter what, like, you got to continuously, like, keep chasing a better version of you. Like, every single day that you are living and breathing on this earth, like, you are getting better in some way or another. And, like, that's the mindset that you have to look at life. Life slows down and life stops when you trap yourself into that fixed mindset. But when you can see the light and, like, push yourself to, like, have this growth mindset, it just opens so many more doors for you, and your eyes are just like opened, and it's a whole new world because you realize that really anything in this world you can do as long as you set your mind to it. And there is so much that you can do in this world.
Right.
So
Yeah. It's so easy to compare yourself to someone else who's doing better than you and who's younger than you as well. I think that one's a pretty big thing to throw out there, which is like comparing yourself to someone else who's in a different position than you, but they're technically quote unquote doing better than you, but they're younger than you. And comparing yourself to them and like putting yourself down is not going to do any good. Like you putting yourself down because someone else is doing better than you is just a recipe for disaster, in my opinion, because it's not leading to any growth, right? It's just leading to a doubtful mindset. And then you start making limiting beliefs on yourself. And then that cycle just starts to repeat. So I don't know. Do you have any advice for anyone who's like looking at themselves in the mirror and then being like, oh, I wish I was like, I don't know, famous and rich at 27 years old when this guy right over here, he's doing way better than me at 24 years old. I don't know. You got a take on that?
there's no time like the present. Start a day is better than putting it off and never starting. Like, think about, like, say for example, like, somebody is a couple years ahead of you, right? Say they're a couple years younger than you, and you're like, damn, man, I wish I would have started doing XYZ when I was their age. Well, you didn't, but that doesn't mean it can stop you from starting it now. Because what will happen if you don't take that opportunity, take that leap of faith, is you're going to look at yourself in this current moment 2 years in the future and say, damn, if I would have just started when I realized how far behind I was, I would be so much more further than I am right now. Like, starting, no matter when you start, just start. There is no perfect time to start. It's just, you just got to get the momentum and actually start doing the thing. Just because somebody started doing it a little bit earlier than you doesn't mean that you're out. Okay. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, for sure. I think it's very easy to put yourself into a box. It's kind of like it's very easy to put yourself into a box, especially nowadays, dude, with like influencers and stuff. Like that's one of the reasons why I got into bodybuilding also is, dude, I wanted to become an influencer. I thought it was like super cool. I thought it was so dope just to be able to take off your shirt and get paid, right? Like dudes coming up to you be like, dude, you're so jacked. And then of course girls be coming up to you and be like, oh, you're so jacked, right? But in reality, it's
doesn't
just
happen, by the way.
yeah, it's just girls coming up or guys coming up to you.
Guys.
Yeah, just guys. But yeah, it's very easy nowadays to, and this is why a lot of guys who are young, they get into PEDs very young because they think it's going to bring them nothing but fame. It's very far from the truth because it's like people will invest into you. Yeah, of course, if you have a really good physique too, but you got to have a personality to match it, right? So I don't know. I think that it's. I don't want to go off too hard on a different tangent here, but it is very easy to compare yourself to someone else who may be doing a little bit better than you. But you have to also realize like there's a lot of greats out there who were off the radar, very unknown until they hit their like 30s, 40s, or even 50s. Like there's so many famous people. And I saw something the other day. Your average millionaire is not until it's like, I think the late 30s, like 37 or something. So it's like, I still got a little bit of time. I
Yeah,
don't
we
know.
got time. Yep.
Yeah, still got some
We're good.
time.
A little
So
curve, yeah. So, yeah, no, that's really cool. And all of this to kind of say, like, we don't need to necessarily tie this directly into business either. Like, you can take this and put it into account for your own like fitness journey, right? Say that you're like 40 years old listening to this, okay? And you're thinking, like, I don't see the point in starting the gym. I should have started the gym when I was 20, and I wouldn't be where I am today. Well, if you keep that mindset, then 20 years from now, nothing is going to change. But you have the opportunity to take action and take change today, so that you in 20 years can look back on that pivotal moment and be like, damn, I'm so glad that I started when I did. So you can
Right.
apply that to anything in life.
100%, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then kind of because we were talking about like, overcoming obstacles and like pivotal moments for us, one big thing that I kind of want to hit on for me, anybody listening, is just like if you have like a dream or something that you want to do with your life, like take the like you're gonna have to like take a leap of faith and take a jump and a risk to be able to achieve that. But I think that those are the most scary jumps, but they're also the jumps that are going to make it most worth it, and that are going to like be like life altering changes. And like if you are an entrepreneur listening to this, for example, and you have a business, whether that's you want to be a coach or just any other type of business that you want to do, like it all starts with like you believing in yourself and being able to have other people believe in you, and you being able to like, a business is like obviously an exchange, right? Like if you're a coach, you need to be able to like invest into yourself to the point where you have the knowledge to get other people results. You can't just
Mhm.
pull it out of a hat, but also just believing in yourself. But all that to say, like, take the risk, take the chance, take the jump. It's going to be scary, but it's definitely going to be worth it. It definitely was for me in my case. I know that, like, kind of through the process of me being a coach, it was scary and it sucked at times. Like, I remember when I first decided to go all in on this, I left my job. I was living in Dallas with you, and I barely had any income. All I wanted to do was like online coaching, because that had been a passion for the longest time for me, and like I wanted it so bad. So I kind of adopted the mentality of like, got to burn the fucking boats, dude. I was like, all right, we're going all in on this no matter what. This is going to be my job. I'm going to make money from it. This is what's going to pay my bills in like the first month.
Mhm.
That is not accurate. I would not recommend doing that. Burn your boats, yeah, but like have a backup, like have some sort of income, because I did not. Inevitably, I got where I was trying to go, but in the process, I ended up maxing out like 3 credit cards just to kind of like stay afloat while I built my whole business up. And just when I got to the point where I was about to like throw in the towel, give up, was just about to max out that last credit card. I actually moved back home to Oklahoma City, and business started to really start picking up. And I slowly started to like dig myself out of the hole. And like that all goes to say is like never give up on yourself, because I really was almost at that point. And had I done that, I would be in a completely different situation and scenario and be a completely different person than I am today. So yeah, that's a fun story.
Yeah.
But
No, thanks for sharing that, dude. Yeah, it's pretty funny because I got to see a lot of that firsthand. So it's really cool to see, you know, your friend being able to like grow himself into who he is today. It's really awesome to see that mindset shift, the physical changes, like everything. Like, dude, your life took a complete 180, like a complete 180 from when I first met you to who you are today. And it's really cool to see that growth. And I'm telling everyone listening to this, like right now, like you will see that firsthand too if you surround yourself with good people. And it's freaking awesome to see. It really is. So, yeah, dude, I mean, that's freaking dope. It's dope.
yeah,
I don't
surround
really have a crazy. Oh, sorry, did I cut you off?
No, you're good. I was just gonna say, like, make sure you surround yourself with like great people and great friends that believe in you and believe in like your full potential, like Ant believed in me. So
Heck yeah, dude.
you can, yeah. Now continue. What were you saying?
No. What I was gonna say is like I didn't really have a severely like low point when it came down to finances, but still like I knew that I didn't reach my full potential. I was a cop up in Connecticut. Like I was getting a good check in every month overtime. I mean, you, you make some really good money on the road, so it was like I made some good money, but I didn't feel fulfilled. And it's like I always felt like there was an itch that I needed to scratch, and I just didn't know what it was. I didn't know like where to find it. So I had one of those days where I kind of just sat down with myself, and I was like, I had a journal in front of me, and I was like, I'm gonna start this journal for like the first time ever and see what I write down. And then I started writing the journal for what I wanted people to think about me. And then I was like, you know what? Screw all that. I don't care about job security. I care about finding my passion. Because my dad, to preface this, my dad my entire life talked about job security, and this is the farthest thing from job security. He talked about job security and having something that had monthly recurring revenue just come in all the time, right? Like, and that was where a cop came into play. And so when I first wrote my journal, I started writing it for my dad, like talking about how I want to be like a lieutenant. I wanted to first be a canine officer, so on and so forth. And I was like, I don't really want that. And so I ended up ripping that page up, scrapped it. And then I wrote what I really wanted to achieve, and that was to help other people in a different light. And then, from the past years through experience, I was like, you know what? I think personal training is definitely where that's going to lie, but on a bigger scale, not like just in-person personal training, but like online personal training where I can like transform people from who they were to who they are now. And then that's essentially the Band-Aid that I ripped off. And the conversation that I had with my dad was a really hard one because I told him how I wanted to moved from North Haven, Connecticut, and I was like almost 4 years into my cop job, and I wanted to quit that job, and I wanted to move down to Dallas, Texas with my girlfriend and just pursue online personal training as a full-time gig.
You're
And from my
crazy.
dad,
You're
yeah,
crazy.
my
How could you do
dad,
that?
exactly. That was basically the conversation that we had, and I told him, I'm like, I'm gonna figure it out. Like, no matter what, like I'm gonna figure it out. I told him straight up, I was like, doesn't matter if you don't believe in me or not, but I'm still gonna figure it out. And look where we are today. So
You
figure
believed
it
in
out, right?
yourself. You believed in
Exactly.
yourself.
You believe in
That's what
yourself,
you gotta
and
do.
that's the only person who you need in life to believe in yourself is yourself. So
Yeah. If you were, what do you think that you 4 years ago would think of yourself today?
fuck yeah. Just two words.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, man. No,
Yep.
for real. Yeah.
Do you
I mean,
ever?
all love for my dad though. I'm not trying to bash on him or anything. Like I understand his mindset because truthfully, like I was stuck in that mindset too. Like I didn't, do 25 years, get a pension, get out, white picket fence kind of life. And then, also Felicity thrown into the mix too. She did help me out a lot too. She made me see like the brighter things in life and like what I can really get out of it. And then she showed me the business that she works for and all the money that those coaches were making helping out people. And I was like, I know how to help people. What, like, I want to do that. And then I was like, dude, this is the route that I want to take. And I just said, freak it and did it. So yeah.
Proud of you, dude. Now look at you.
Thanks,
Now
man.
look at you. So
You too, man. We're all gonna make it.
we all are gonna make it, especially if you've made it to this point in the podcast. You were definitely
Yes.
gonna make it.
Yes, yes, yes.
So, but yeah, just kind of want to wrap this up and give a little bit of a
Yeah.
summary.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you've taken anything from this, like, I guess my biggest point is like, don't be afraid to take chances. If you have a dream, believe in yourself enough to make that happen. What else? Make sure that if you have a fixed mindset, acknowledge it. Acknowledge that you have a fixed mindset and start trying to look at life in a different angle. Anytime I love this actually. And I sent it to my girlfriend Tori, and I said that this is going to be like when we're older and we're married and we have kids, this is going to be a house rule. But it was this Instagram reel, and it was like, I think this was from Matthew McConaughey too.
Yeah.
But he said,
Was it about TV? Anything to do with TV?
I don't think it was about TV.
Oh shit.
There was a
Okay.
lawnmower involved.
Damn. Oh, okay. Never mind.
But yeah, so he said that his dad never allowed him to say the word, I can't do it. I can't. Like, I can't would just result in like, no, hold on. I wrote it down, but never say like, I can't. No, I can't. Only I'm having trouble. Right. So the story that he told was, he was like 12 years old. He went to go mow the yard one day and he couldn't get the lawnmower to start. So he went inside and he said, Dad, I can't get the lawnmower to start. And his dad looks at him and he like clenches his jaw. He's like, you can't, or you're just having, or no, he didn't say anything yet. He just clenched his jaw and then he followed his kid out to the lawnmower. The dad kind of messed with the lawnmower. He ripped it, cranked it. And as it was like sitting there, like starting, he leaned down to his kid and said, never say like, I can't, only I'm having a hard time. See? And I just love that. And like, not only can you apply that, will I be applying that to my future kids, but like you can apply that to you listening to this, like you can apply that to your life right now. And switching that, coming from the I can't mindset to the I'm having trouble. Yeah, I'll figure it out. I'm having trouble mindset. That's the real switch. And that's really the biggest and the best example that I can give from a fixed versus a growth mindset.
Dude, that's dope. To bring up the TV one, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just like, oh, dude, because I just saw it. It was Matthew McConaughey too, and he talked about Yeah, that's why I was like, dude, there's no way. But it
Three
was,
Matthew McConaughey quotes in one
yeah, I
episode.
know. Well, his mom, like they didn't want Matthew to watch the TV. Because it was like she said this quote, and it was, "Why are you gonna watch other people live your own dreams?" And it's like, I
Love
guess that
that.
makes sense, you know. And it like kind of hits hard because he was watching like these movies and stuff, and when he was younger, he did want to get into like somewhat of acting field, and he's like, and she's like, "Why are you gonna like watch other people live your dreams?" And it's like that's dope. So that
A1
like,
parenting right
yeah,
there.
no, it is
Yeah,
really
that's the
cool.
parent
Yeah.
I want to be,
Yeah,
dude.
dude, right? Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
like, shit. I got a lot of house rules, man, that my kid's gonna be going through the ringer.
Yeah,
It's
but
all
they
for
will
the
come out
betterment of
with
them,
a
though.
yeah, they will come out with a growth mindset though.
But yeah, I'm gonna put them on our podcast right when they're right when they can understand English.
That would be cool. That'd be a cool full circle moment.
Yeah, but
All right, son. I need you to say we're gonna burn the boats. Cool. All right. Well, you want to wrap that up?
yeah, yeah.
Any
No,
final
basically,
thoughts?
dude, like you hit it on the head, right? It's just like never give up and never say it's too late. Because like, dude, honestly, there's so many successful people out there who have had a late start to life. And another one of my favorite quotes is, "A man has two lives, and the second one starts when they realize they only have one." And at that point, you have to take some sort of action no matter what it is. If you fail, it's okay. You just have to pick yourself up and fucking keep going. Like, just keep going because you only need yourself in this life to really be the person that you want to become. And if you're limiting yourself and giving yourself your own beliefs that you think you can achieve, stop setting that ceiling. Just stop setting that ceiling and just try. What's the worst that can happen? You fail? Okay. Well, have you learned from it? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Just don't let it happen again. And just keep on keeping on. So,
Enough said. Yeah, I love that. Cool.
I
All
don't
right. Well, thank you
cool.
guys for tuning in to this episode of the Valid Podcast. I believe we're gonna have a guest speaker on the next episode. Hopefully, we can make that happen. We'll
Hopefully.
see.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully.
But yeah, you guys stay tuned. Thank you again for listening and supporting the show. If you guys want to make sure you're following us on Instagram, the podcast Instagram page is at Dialed Show. Pretty easy. My Instagram, if you want to give me a follow, is at Nick McElhenney. So at NickMcElhinny. And then Ants is
Coach_Beretta. Coach as in coach _ BERRETTA.
cool.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.